Welcome everyone to cold and snowy Pittsburgh, where tonight inside the sold-out Peterson Event Center, the Pittsburgh Panthers look for their 6th win in a row and try to strengthen their grasp on first place in the Big East as they host Big Monday presented by Bud Light. The Panthers at 22-3 for the season, up to number 5 in the poll just released today, hosting the Louisville Cardinals, playing their first game ever at Pitt. And the Cardinals in need of a victory on the bubble at 17-8. They're 7-4 in conference right now, tied for 4th in the Big East standings. It's Pittsburgh off to their best start ever in Big East play, setting the pace at 10-1. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us. And Jay, when you look at that 17-8 record for Louisville, it looks pretty good, but not a lot of signature wins. They could use a big win here tonight.
That's really the problem. This is a good Louisville team at 7-4. They've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. The problem is they haven't beaten a marquee team yet. And this game against Pittsburgh on the road in a very difficult place to play offers them a great opportunity for that marquee win to grab the selection committee's attention. But they have got to shoot the ball well. Not a great shooting team. They have to knock some shots down.
And Bill, Pittsburgh, as usual, very business-like, focusing on one game at a time, but so much to play for Pittsburgh down the stretch. 5 league games to go, comfortably in first place right now, and perhaps down the road a number 1 seed.
I know Bubble Boy might not agree. I think they're in, don't you?
Yes.
I don't want you to go down the limb, but what I love the most, and I think you'll all agree, is the way they pass the ball to one another. Very unselfish team. They don't care who scores. It's so refreshing, Sean.
Indeed it is. We take a look at Star Watch, and for each team, one player is his team's leading scorer and rebounder.
And Terrence Williams is the leading scorer and rebounder for Louisville, but has not played well lately. Over his last 3, averaging over 7 points per game, 25% from the field. Got to pick it up.
And Jay, I know you've been amazed at Aaron Gray's improvement during his 4 years. He's still getting better, according to Jamie Dixon.
Take a look now at the starting lineups brought to you by FedEx for Louisville. The freshman point guard Edgar Sosa with Brandon Jenkins coming off a season-high 15 in their win Saturday. Williams, Juan Palacios, and David Padgett. For Pittsburgh, Levance Fields, the talented freshman point guard with Antonio Graves, Levon Kendall, Mike Cook, and Aaron Gray. The safe Heisman that started every game this season for Pitt. Louisville looking for a win over a ranked team. They're 0-4 this year against ranked opponents. Haven't had a victory over a ranked team since they beat Washington in the Sweet 16 of the 2005 NCAA tournament. Pitt won the tip.
Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, unfortunately 2-3 zone with some man-to-man principles.
Levon Kendall to his roommate Aaron Gray, a combination that works so well. Kendall, the great ability to find Gray so often. And Gray off the big night Saturday in the win against Providence when he had 22 points in 25 minutes. Off to a good start again tonight.
And I think Kendall is their best post passer. Does a great job finding people and really gets the ball inside very well. Not everybody does that.
Juan Palacios with the first bucket for Louisville. Jay mentioned the shooting slump lately for Terrence Williams, and the same has been true for Palacios. Over the last 3 games, he's shot 31%, has averaged only 4 points per game. For the year, he averages 9.5.
Rick Pitino said he was going to move Aaron Gray around. That closed that open jumper on the other end.
Try to get him out on the perimeter, and Pitino also after the made basket going 2-2-1 3/4 court pressure back into this zone.
And he can make that jumper too. This is an unselfish interior passing team.
Jamie Dixon says our philosophy is to pass up a good shot for a great shot. They get a 3 from Fields with the shot clock running out. Out of bounds, last touch by Gray. Ed Corbett, Tim Higgins, and Carl Hess are the officials working this one tonight.
Louisville does a very good job of keeping the floor spread. Run a lot of down screen, back screen, fade screen action.
Sosa, strong drive, and he scores. He's averaging nearly 11 points per game. Freshman from New York City out of Rice High School. Originally from the Dominican Republic.
Sorry, Sean. Padgett moves up, which enables guys to put it on the deck and blow by as Sosa did.
And you really do have to keep this Pittsburgh team spread. They're better guarding the ball than they've been in years past, but they're still very physical. The more you can spread them out, the better shots you're going to have.
Good hands by Brandon Jenkins. Now Williams, the finger roll lay in, and it's 6-2 for the Cardinals.
This is the kind of start Louisville wanted to get off to, especially on the road where they've had some difficulties.
Coming off a convincing home win, a 20-point win, 83-63 Saturday at Freedom Hall over South Florida. That ended a 2-game losing streak for Louisville. They've still won 5 of their last 7.
Well, that 2-3 zone really protects Padgett. He doesn't have the foul concerns as much.
Padgett playing on a sore left foot. He came out 7 minutes into the game Saturday with a sprained left foot and did not return. They had it x-rayed, and he's fine. Just a minor sprain, traveling to call against Pitt.
You can see the top of that zone, Sosa and Jenkins so active with their hands, knocking the ball away, getting the easy transition basket. That's a real big factor in this zone, is the activity of the players out top.
Louisville 3 for 3 from the floor. Padgett 1-on-1 on the 7-footer Gray, short with the jump hook, and Gray tipped it to Antonio Graves.
He doesn't have the great elevation on that jump hook, and he doesn't get enough air under it.
I think you got to face up Aaron Gray and try to go around him. If you're just going to try to back him in, that's where he's good defensively as a position defender.
Tough.
Cook found a gap, but then missed the short little runner. Out of bounds last touch by Louisville, coached by Rick Pitino, now in his 6th season as head coach of the Cardinals. The only coach to take 3 different schools to the Final Four. Just 1-6 all time against Pittsburgh.
I've been watching him a lot lately. He's pretty good at this.
At this job?
Yeah, I think he's going to be.
Picked it up?
I think he's going to be pretty good if he sticks with it.
Well, he's
now
got,
54 years old. Remember, was the young whippersnapper when he started out at Boston University. 3 straight turnovers now for Pittsburgh.
Sean, you probably remember him at Syracuse, I would think, as an assistant.
One of his early jobs there with Jim Boeheim. Good work on the offensive glass, and Palacios has 4 points. It's 8-2 Louisville.
And that allows Louisville to put on their pressure, and poorly handled.
Off the hands of Graves went the pass. That's 4 straight Pittsburgh turnovers. They had only 9 the entire game against Providence College here Saturday night as they earn their 5th straight win for Jamie Dixon. They've won 12 out of the last 13. Their only conference loss to Marquette. Jamie 2 wins away from 100. When he gets there, if he's anywhere near the pace he's on, he'll be one of the 15 fastest coaches in the history of college basketball to get 100 wins. Sosa bumped by Graves. And a timeout. Good start for Louisville. When we come back, we'll talk about the Cardinals' chances of making the NCAA tournament. Like much of the country, the Pittsburgh area expecting significant snowfall here over the next couple of days. It's just started within the last hour or 2. Louisville off to a great start, leading 8-2. We've mentioned their 17-8 record, which looks impressive. 7-4 in one of the best conferences in the country, but a lack of marquee wins, and as a result, Jay, their RPI only 73.
Yeah, and you can see 0-4 versus ranked opponents, and good wins against Providence, Syracuse, a good win at DePaul, but nothing great. They lost to Dayton. They've lost to UMass. Their road wins. They beat South Florida on the road and beat Cincinnati in addition to DePaul. But I think this game tonight against Pittsburgh and then a game on the road at Marquette are crucial. I think they've got to have one of those 2 games to feel comfortable that they've done enough heading into the Big East tournament, that they've got a real shot, because there's so many teams, Bill, that are good, not great. And I think Louisville's one of those teams. They're good, not necessarily great, but they can play really well at times.
Let's say they don't get a marquee win and they end up 500 in the league. You don't think so?
Not with that RPI at 73.
But, you know, I think they've got to evaluate the strength of the conference, too.
I agree, but it depends on whether you think they're one of the 34 best teams. That's really the measure. And I think a lot's going to shake itself out in the next couple of weeks when we find out whether, obviously, whether they win tonight, whether they can win on the road at Marquette.
But, Jay, if they don't get in, I still think somebody in it will not be better than that.
That could be true.
But it would certainly help to get a good win.
It's a separating factor, which is what every team needs. What can you give a committee member to hang their hat on to give you their vote instead of another team?
Yeah, Pitt at Pitt.
That would be big. Aaron Gray missed. He scored on the first possession of the night for Pittsburgh. Since then, 2 missed shots, 4 turnovers, and now another missed shot. Louisville has scored 10 unanswered points. Sosa just made 2 free throws on the last possession. Now Palacios for 3. 7 points for Juan Palacios.
Louisville is doing something very smart in transition. Paget is screening on the ball, almost a random ball screen, and Gray cannot get there. They are going to screen. Everybody that's being guarded by Gray is going to be turned into a free screener.
Nice deflection.
And a 5th turnover by Pitt.
Here it comes, and there's the slip.
Williams underneath. Oh, Paget unlucky as it bounced around the rim and came out to Aaron Gray. Now Ronald Ramon in off the bench. Excellent three-point shooter, one of the best in the conference.
You got to be able to handle dribble drive deep.
Ramon missed the 3. Gray kept it alive for Kendall. Good ball movement, and it's Mike Cook. Long. Gray another offensive rebound. One-on-one on Paget. He's fouled by Paget.
So that's a tough situation because you screen a guy off like that. Nothing Paget can do. Great weak side position.
Paget did a good job there of screening on the ball. Afterwards, he was open inside with Gray on his back. And that led to the drive. Everybody collapsed in, and Gray's the guy that has to recover out to the corner. Not quick enough to do it. Louisville doing a great job with ball screens in transition by the guy Gray is guarding, and that has been Paget.
Cook and Kendall go out for Pittsburgh. Sam Young has come in, a forward. Along with Keith Benjamin. Gray, 59% field goals. That's also his free throw percentage. Jamie Dixon told us before the game tonight he should be a better free throw shooter. He has good form, good touch, and he thinks he will improve. They're going to spend some time the next couple of days working with him on the free throw shooting. Underneath it goes to Earl Clark, the freshman, who's been outstanding lately. Just into the ball game on his first touch, he scores.
And Sosa's made great decisions that time. Nice look, deft delivery.
So good off the bounce. How about the catch, too, by Clark?
Yeah, with a little heat and in traffic.
Well, it's freshman to freshman, Sosa to Clark. Young had trouble after passing up the open foul line jumper. Uncharacteristic of Pittsburgh, turning it over time and time again.
They're indecisive.
Terrence Williams, a little out of control. Managed from almost on his back to tip it out. Gray stole it from Paget off the feed from Brandon Jenkins.
Not a good entry. Had the guy wide open, the wrong hand.
Ronald Ramon. Now Levance Fields for 3. Looked like he got hit after the shot. The crowd wanted that. Young missed the dunk.
How is that not a foul?
Well, they are spreading it.
Brandon Jenkins open for 3, and the rebound by Benjamin. Jenkins off his best game of the season, 15 in their win Saturday against South Florida. And Fields fouled as he went to the glass.
Yeah, the more you watch this Louisville team, you know they're going to scrap and hustle. This should have been a completion. But the big thing is they end up in droughts because they do settle for the corner jumper. It looks pretty. The kick out, if you come up empty, that's a fast break initiator.
And that was a really bad play by Terrence Williams on the drive. There was nothing there. He just threw up a bad shot. They wound up getting out of it, turned it over later. But that's one where he gets in the middle, stay under control, kick it out to an open shooter.
Foul on Williams was his first. Fields, the sophomore from Brooklyn out of Xaverian High School. 76.5% from the line for the year. He makes both. It's 15-5. Pittsburgh just 1 out of 8 from the floor with 6 turnovers. Fields gets a breather. Graves back in. Aaron Gray also on the bench. Andre McGee with the ball, gave it to Earl Clark. McGee has come in along with Jerry Smith, now in possession of it. McGee injured for much of the year. Smith played it inside to Derek Character, the freshman. He missed a short one.
Coming off a great game against South Florida. That's 16-10.
Power into the rim. That time he should have stepped stronger.
Both the 16 points, 10 rebounds for Character Saturday were career highs. Benjamin a deep 3. Well, they're doing a lot of things that aren't characteristic of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they are not. They're a little too quick, and I think it's this philosophy by Louisville.
Williams gets that runner to go. Terrence Williams, the sophomore from Seattle, Washington, with 4.
Now, Rick had mentioned there's a little nickel dimer in the backcourt, not a heady play. McGee with the small change, but Rick had said they get in shooting droughts. Well, when you dribble and create, just like this, you're going to end up with defenses collapsing, runouts. You can't close properly, and then the blow-by.
First foul on Andre McGee, the third team foul against Louisville. 8 minutes in. Cardinals leading 17-5 as Pittsburgh has missed its last 8 shots from the floor.
And really, Bill, more to your point, I think Terrence Williams, the next step for him is attacking off the dribble.
Sam Young, the bucket, his first, averaging 6 per game off the bench, the sophomore from Clinton, Maryland.
Kendall will have a lot of pressure on him with character. If they get him tight, he can do some damage.
Character bumped by Levon Kendall.
Yeah, good read.
He's first. And a timeout after the third team foul against the Pitt Panthers here in the first half. Performances both. Mario Bogan and Kevin Durant had 37 points in that game.
And both had over 20 rebounds. And going to be another tough challenge for Kevin Durant. What a great pass inside the block.
And that good defense. Good non-call, too.
Sam Young blocked Character the first time. Then the fans thought Character charged into Sam Young. No whistle. And Derek Character with the bucket.
You know, that Oklahoma State game, remember Sean Sutton also having trouble with his back? People thought he was having a fading spell. It looked like Sean some evenings.
And another turnover for Pittsburgh. Antonio Graves lost the handle.
Well, you usually don't see Pittsburgh give up that easy an opportunity off an out-of-bounds underneath play. Usually they are very good communicating on those screens. Didn't do a very good job and got burned as a result of it.
I tell you, that was a little tougher than I thought, that play. The big body.
7 turnovers for Pittsburgh. They average only 12 per game. And then 7 in less than a quarter of the game. Character never did get it up on the rim, and then Ramon fouled on a reach-in by Earl Clark. Character, certainly an interesting story. Very highly recruited player out of Notre Dame Prep in Fitchburg, Massachusetts last year. Hasn't played much. That performance Saturday against South Florida, just the 9th game this year in which he's appeared, just the 3rd in the last 14. He's had weight issues from time to time and some personal issues he's needed to address. And steal by Louisville, and then they turn it back over.
Unbelievable, huh? That's the dilemma you have, and Rick a little bit upset. Earl Clark with a great steal, and just be comfortable and relax and get a shot.
Earl Clark rapidly developing. Rick Pitino says he has a lot of talent. He's learning how to play at this level. They're not playing a complex system in high school, and as a result, some of the concepts are brand new to him that he's had to learn here in Louisville.
He has come along beautifully, though, Sean. Nice screen by Gray.
Gray
and he pushed
with a jumper. Yeah, Gray got away with a push-off. The crowd thought he got fouled. On the putback, it'll be out of bounds to Pittsburgh with a fresh shot clock. Gray saying, geez, I got hit in the mouth.
It's so tempting with the big guys in front of you, though. Nice screen. They fade. And watch these hands, Jay. I know you used a few of these in your day.
Louisville going man-to-man on this possession.
Gray took a hard fall at the end of the game the other night against Providence, and his back was a bit sore, but he said before the game tonight he was all right. Now Kendall called for going over the back of Padgett.
What a nice job by Jerry Smith, the small guard, getting in front of Gray and boxing him out.
2 fouls on Kendall, so he goes out and Sam Young comes in.
You know, watching this game early, fellas, Pitt is right. They are not into this game in the proper fashion. Louisville just has to continue to get good shots, use the dribble, the kick out for there's a back screen, it's offense. Palacios.
Trying to set the high screen, a bit too physical in doing so. First foul on Juan Palacios. Grew up in Columbia, moved to the New York City area in 2001.
Louisville much more active defensively than we've seen them earlier in the year.
Still didn't turn it over with that press, you know.
But they've got them off kilter.
Yeah, they do.
When you rarely see that from Pittsburgh. Young had it swatted by Padgett. Paget underneath Palacios. He was doubled. Jenkins, a tough runner. Gray, the rebound.
Well, they didn't score, but how often do you see teams get into the lane as easily as they're getting in tonight?
They get whatever they want.
Fields around the Aaron Gray screen. Rattles one home. 4 points for Levance Fields. And a mini timeout called by Louisville. 9:03 to go. The Cardinals by 10.
Well, they look so good the last few games.
Back in Pittsburgh, a 10-point lead for Louisville, and the ball just under 9 minutes to go in the first half. Terrence Williams, and the tip in by David Paget.
And that's what driving does. The big guy has to come over and help. Opens up that lane to the follow.
Anytime you go for a shot block, another turnover.
And Brandon Jenkins trying to make them pay. Missed the three. Ronald Ramon the rebound. Well, given how Pittsburgh has shot the ball and turned it over, they're fortunate that they're within 12.
And another bad shot.
Jenkins had it swatted away.
See, now if you're Louisville, you take a long three. That's not a good shot. You turn it over. That really hurts. You got good things going your way, and you got pit rattle.
9 turnovers. The most they've had in a half all year is 11. You mentioned they average 12 per game. Bill, you made the point. It's unusual to see a team just drive into the lane over and over again, as Louisville has tonight against Pittsburgh.
Now, they have not contained their individual guy.
You know, the last time I remember Pittsburgh playing this way in the first half was against Villanova.
Gray called for an offensive foul. Carl Hess saying he used his free arm to clear out some space.
That was his first foul. Good call.
Team's fifth. Jamie Dixon wondering what's going on here in the first half. Louisville having its way early on.
No, watch me dribble, fade away and take the jump shot.
The Peterson Event Center. And these folks aren't used to seeing their team trailing, certainly not losing. They're 78-7 here all time. 14-1 this year. The only loss was in overtime to Marquette.
They're actually outside their boxes watching this. They can't believe it. They're not inside having a little dining pleasure.
Pittsburgh has 3 field goals for the game and 10 turnovers. They're shooting 19% so far, but down by only 12. Edgar Sosa. Wow, how'd he get that through to Paget?
He got a charge.
Yep, they wave it off.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Maybe a little too deep there, but I love what he's been able to do.
So good off the bounce, and a good passer. Got a great aptitude for the game. He's really going to be a good one, Edgar Sosa.
First foul on Sosa. Now Jenkins trips up Fields in the backcourt, and that puts Louisville over the limit. The first personal on Brandon Jenkins, a senior from Detroit. The only senior on this Louisville team who came to the Cardinals as a scholarship player.
You know, both of you guys have seen your share of pro games. You know how you can't press the pros. They have to find a way. Almost in this league, it's hard to turn people over on a regular basis. But it really keeps them using the clock, and then they get in their 2-3 zone, and Pitt struggled against it.
Fields has 5 of the 10 Pittsburgh points. Oakland Zoo student section, one of the country's most vocal.
Perhaps it was too quiet.
1 out of 2 for Fields. Sosa to Jenkins, and now Paget with Palacios and Williams. The 5-some for Rick Pitino. Deep jump hook by Paget.
Nice job, nice footwork. I think he's had a great year.
He's done a great job, especially with all the injuries he's faced, and that's why you need to face up Aaron Gray.
Now, Ronald Ramon a little frustrated not getting free. A little discard.
First foul on Ramon. Here's Reese Davis, a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
All right, Sean, Andy Reid, the Eagles head coach, is going to take a leave of absence from the team for a month to deal with family issues. This decision comes less than 2 weeks after his two sons, got into separate legal trouble on the same day. Chris Benson of the Orioles likely will miss the entire 2007 season. He has a torn rotator cuff in his right shoulder. More on these stories on Sports Center after Oklahoma State and Texas. ESPN News all the time.
All right, Reese, thank you. David Padgett a miss in the lane for Louisville, and then at the other end Brandon Jenkins called for a foul on Ronald Ramon, second personal on Jenkins, 8th team foul, so Jenkins goes out. Jerry Smith back in, and Ronald Ramon, one of the best free throw shooters in Pittsburgh history, 83% career at the free throw line, makes the first of the 1-and-1.
And Jay, I think they did a great job against Gray on that last trip. Everything but the basket. They got him moving and covering and at a disadvantage.
Well, that's what Padgett is doing. He's continuing to set ball screens and then slipping off those screens to the goal. And Pittsburgh not doing as good a job as they need to in picking him up after setting those screens. And he's going to keep doing it all night long.
First points for Ramon. Pittsburgh back within 11, under 7 minutes to go now in the first half.
Nice.
Cook comes over to swat the shot from Palacios after he was found by Padgett underneath. Sosa steps into a three. Offensive rebound by Jerry Smith, the freshman guard. Sosa will try again for three.
How unselfish is Padgett, and Jamie Dixon upset not getting good rebounding on the perimeter on the long ones.
Best time to hit a three after an offensive rebound. Everybody inside of that three-point line, and you can step right into it.
The dribble has been beautiful for this team. Electrifying, whether they finish on their own. Nice little touch there by Sosa. Around the rim, they have been tough. Playing with a lot of character, you might say.
Louisville has been by far the more active team, really moving and screening. And as a result, they are getting to the rim. Those points in the paint not necessarily representative of pounding the ball inside to Padgett or Palacios, but the movement out on the perimeter that opens it up, keeping the floor spread. Or as my buddy Steve Lavin would say, the spacing, the great spacing.
Thank you for the check mark next to the graphic there.
I just like to help them once in a while. Contribute the telecast whatever
It was
I
a
can.
tremendous help.
And they are just making mistake after mistake. Very unlike them.
11 turnovers, one shy of their average per game for the year. We have 6:19 to go in the first half.
And all they really need to do is catch, face the defense, and make a play. They're going too fast, catching and dribbling.
Gray rejects Padgett. It winds up back with Padgett, then Ramon a held ball, and Louisville will play it in. 22 on the shot clock.
Nice job here, Jay, with keeping your ground. A little body bump, and here the toughness of Ramon.
But if Padgett faces him up, Gray is going to back off a step. Then he can take that space up and make a move. That's what he's been doing. If he's just going to bang right into him. See, this is an advantage for Padgett when he gets it there.
Three-second violation called against Louisville. Among those in attendance here tonight, the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin. Become a big Pittsburgh sports fan. He's been spotted at a couple of Pittsburgh Penguin games as well, watching that exciting young team that's earned points in each of their last 13 outings.
You've been spotted looking for real estate here. You've been here for a week.
Had a nice time here in this nice city. Sam Young, a baseline jumper. 4 points for Young.
They finally found a short corner with some ball movement.
And Young coming off a couple games ago, his best game against West Virginia. He was magnificent on the road.
Palacios got a mismatch down in that corner to either get the jumper or post up. Ramon on him. He's trying to get off him.
Padgett again trying to work on Gray. Crowd thought he walked. Count the basket for Padgett. He has 6, the junior from Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, what a nice move.
He's had a terrific contribution all season long.
Played on 2 very painful knees last year. Had knee surgery in March. And has been relatively healthy this year.
Relatively the key word, isn't it?
Well, he's always had a nick, hasn't he? He competes. Not a good pass here by Gray, Zig, and the guy Zhang.
Super Tuesday means a night of college basketball on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Randolph Morris and the Kentucky Wildcats face Tennessee. Then at 9, Deion Harris leads Michigan in East Lansing to take on their rivals, the Michigan State Spartans, led by Drew Neitzel. Super Tuesdays presented by Lexus on ESPN. Also available in high definition on ESPN HD.
Kentucky coming off a really difficult game against Florida, Rupp Arena. on Saturday, in which the Wildcats did not shoot it well at all. They're going to have to shoot it a lot better and handle pressure at Tennessee.
Nice recovery.
Got to throw that pass right away. Had him right away. He let the defense recover.
And high, too. Higher, I should say. Playing small right now, pitch, Sean.
Sosa was looking for Williams. Mike Cook knocked it out. Williams was pointing at Sosa up in the air, as you could say, throw that one a little higher.
Good things happen when Pagic gets it, himself or others.
Trying to back in on Kendall. Very nicely done. Paget has 8.
Boy, he has done an outstanding job with his back to his guy as well.
Well, Kendall, not as big or as strong to be able to hold his ground in there when Pagic gets the ball in the low box, and that frees him up to make a move.
12 turnovers. That's their average for a game. They've had it in 1/2.
Right now, Pitt doesn't have that targeting grade and makes some decisions in that mid-post area.
Down to 10 on the shot clock. Antonio Graves, a contested 3, ripped out of the air by the freshman Earl Clark.
And that's how active a zone is supposed to be. Active hands, movement, communication.
Smith for 3, the freshman from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, just outside Milwaukee. His first 3. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the conference. Largest lead now for Louisville, 33-14 with 3.5 to go in the half.
Now, how many centers would do that? He reloads on the box, but he doesn't make mistakes. Great look in the corner, and Smith on the money.
This great inside-outside interaction.
These two teams met twice last year, including in the Big East tournament. Strange game. Pittsburgh, a tremendous start. Ronald Ramona 3 that made it 16-0. Carl Krauser scored from underneath. That made it 33-5. That was Pittsburgh's largest lead. But look at the score now. A 6-point game when Taekwon Dean hit a 3 to get Louisville within 3. But that was as close as the Cardinals got. Krauser nailed down the free throws to clinch it. 61-56 the final. Pittsburgh won the regular season meeting between these two 61-57 at Freedom Hall. In that game, Terrence Williams had his career-high 25 for Louisville in the loss. Both games last year were low scoring.
There's our deflection, huh? Gray back on the floor. They continue to trap, causing the timeout. Louisville is alert and ready. They know how important this game is, folks.
And Pittsburgh really frustrated. You could see it on the face of Mike Cook after that timeout was called. They are upset.
Well, in terms of overall record and Big East record, Pittsburgh has been the best team in the Big East over the last 6 years. Of course, Connecticut and Syracuse have won national championships in that time, but based on the record, Pittsburgh's been the best, as is the case this year. Already 20.
Or really tell you who's best, because the schedules are imbalanced. So they're not playing the same people. It's not like they play everybody twice. So you really have to look beyond those standings. They're instructive to a point, but they don't tell you the entire story.
You knew you would hear about Syracuse, by the way, didn't you? that little 4 straight 20-win seasons for Jamie. Here's the trap. Are they ready for it? Yes, nice elbow cut.
Cook lost it. Another turnover. Sosa looks to push. Has help coming. Clark. And on the baseline was Derek Character as he handled that pass. Pittsburgh facing its largest deficit of the season, down 19. Even in the 3 losses, Pittsburgh hasn't been this far behind all season long. They have the 3 losses, 2 of them in overtime. Double overtime to Oklahoma State, and the only home loss of the year to Marquette. Their other defeat was at Wisconsin. There are a lot of interested teams in the Big East watching. We just showed you the standings, particularly Georgetown and Marquette right behind Pittsburgh in the standings. Pittsburgh has 4 games left in the league after tonight, and 2 of them are at Georgetown and at Marquette. Cook lost it. Louisville pushes again.
And Character gets right to the rim, doesn't get the benefit.
Couldn't take the handoff from Clark, and then Cook's pass was behind Fields. Jerry Smith for 3. Foul on Pittsburgh in the rebounding action.
The only way you could stop was pull his arm. That was Kendall, I think, Sean.
If you had to describe Pittsburgh's effort in this first half in one word, my word would be weak. They've been weak passing the ball. They've been weak going up with it. They've been weak rebounding. And that was, Levon Kendall is not a weak player, but that was a weak play. He didn't move his feet. Yeah, he didn't move his feet to jump in front, and he just grabbed a guy.
Puts Pittsburgh over the limit, puts Kendall, the fifth-year senior from Vancouver, British Columbia, on the bench. So here's Character. This is the front end of the 1-and-1. He's just 39% for the year from the free throw line, 11 out of 28 coming in.
Well, I think Pitt has going. They're 9 deep, and they all play with confidence.
Rick Pitino, we spoke with him before the game as Tyrell Biggs was fouled, said, I've watched the tape of every game they played this year, and our staff is desperately trying to find a weakness. Well, it looks like they've hit upon a few areas where they felt they could attack Pittsburgh with the way they've played tonight. But Rick was so admiring of the Pittsburgh team. He said they all know their roles, they accept their roles, they play them well. The bench guys are terrific.
High percentage shots was another thing he mentioned they always take. And in transition, they don't make mistakes. Well, they are this evening. But I just think it's the aggressive nature of Louisville. They are involved, thoroughly enmeshed.
And he seemed especially respectful when he was saying they accept and understand their roles. You know, it's a team that's been very well coached, but it's a team that's receptive to the coaching they've been getting.
Free throws by Biggs, his first points. That time Sosa threw it up higher for Williams, but a little bit behind him. They tried to run that play a number of times. Ramon steps into a 3. Crowd was ready to get into it had that one gone down, and a foul against Louisville in the follow-up activity. Coming up on the UPS halftime report, Reese Davis, Digger Phelps, and Stacey Dales bringing you a number of stories, including Duke dropping out of the top 25. Digger talks about West Virginia off their big win just down the road here Saturday against UCLA, and Stacey talks about her team on a roll. Gray misses the first free throw.
John Beilein, that's a great win, Sean. UCLA coming cross country. We know how good they are. We saw them early in the year. They've been terrific since. Beat them. That's a pretty good notch on your belt.
Oh, it's a great win.
UCLA stopped here in Pittsburgh on their way down to West Virginia. Actually worked out here. And they arrived in Pittsburgh before making the trip of a little over an hour down to Morgantown. Williams underneath to Clark, blocked again by Gray. Clark powers one back up there and gets fouled. Clark will go to the line. Gray thought it was a held ball.
I think it'll be on Biggs on the inside there. But they have shown poise and attack mode. A terrific combination.
And that's the way Terrence Williams has to play. Drive to dish at times. And oftentimes when you get your shot block that close to the basket, you're the one that's going to get it back. Or at least that's what I heard.
2 fouls on Gray. Clark makes the first. 62% from the line for the freshman from Plainfield, New Jersey. Rahway High School, where he was a McDonald's All-American last year, averaged more than 25 points per game. Way off with the second one, boarded by Gray.
There was a room where you led the country in catching your own shot.
Tell you what, this is a big minute and a half for Pittsburgh. If they can execute here down the stretch, get a stop, they can get back in this thing.
Look at this weak side strength. The big fella carving up a little territory, Sean.
Jamie Dixon leaving Gray in with the 2 fouls and rewarded. 6 points for Gray. Jamie took him out of the first half the other night after he had 2 fouls against Providence. Sosa, tough runner, and Clark way up to keep it alive. Character scores.
What a great job by Clark keeping that alive. What
Great point, great point.
Character has 4 points tonight. And Fields called for a double dribble.
Well, they have had their share. Looking on in disbelief. There's Billy Hillgrove, longtime announcer there with Dick Grote in the background. Is Jamie, I think, more concerned about the way they have performed than anything.
Well, what led to that turnover was the great backflow defense by Louisville, trying to back tip it away. And it got Fields going too fast.
You saw the shot clock a moment ago. There's just about a second or 2 second difference, so Louisville can take it almost all the way down. They need a shot. They get it from Earl Clark. Time for a heave. And it's halftime. 15 first half turnovers for Pittsburgh. A stunning number. And the score is a big surprise as well. Louisville 36, Pittsburgh 19. Here's Reese Davis in the studio, the UPS halftime report. A Bud Light, stunned sellout crowd here at the Peterson Event Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. The Panthers, number 5 in the country, leading the Big East down by 17 to Louisville at halftime as Pitt shot 24% and turned it over 15 times in the first half. They did not make a 3 in the first half. They lead the conference at 40% from beyond the arc. Sean McDonough, Bill Raftery, Jay Billis. The second half is underway with Pittsburgh in possession.
And no statistical line for attitude. It's got to be good for Pitt to get back in this, and not a bad start. The elbow jumper, but a big fella.
Aaron Gray leads Pitt with 8 points. He needs 8 more to reach 1,000 for his career.
Nice.
Sosa, beautiful to Jenkins.
Not very good communication by Pittsburgh on that back screen. Usually they jump out, bump that cutter, make him change his path, but that was way too easy for a team that's trying to make a statement in the first 4 minutes of the second half.
First bucket for Brandon Jenkins. Mike Cook underneath off a nice little dump down from Aaron Gray. First bucket for Cook.
Cutting, keeping busy.
Pittsburgh slowed down a little bit on the offensive end. They're catching, turning, and looking. In the first half, it was catch and dribble, or catch and try to do something quickly.
This is Terrence Williams and David Padgett. Williams got Cook in the air. Juan Palacios, Edgar Sosa, and Brandon Jenkins. The rest of the 5 from opening the second half for Louisville. Palacios with the shot clock running out. Good block out by Cook of Padgett. Largest deficit facing Pitt in the first half was 19. Gray fouled by Palacios.
Well, Jane, Sean, we've seen this play all game long, and they've handled it decently because the passes weren't there. But here, the little brush screen sets it up, and look at the ability to get to the rim. First clear up by Williams, and then Jenkins turns the corner. Very simple, and as you mentioned, you got to talk to one another.
Well, and usually Levon Kendall is very good at communicating that type of situation. You call the screen out, you let the defender get past it, and you bump the cutter.
2 quick fouls within a couple of seconds of each other against Juan Palacios, so he goes to the bench with 3. Earl Clark, the freshman, is in for him.
Straight up man-to-man now. A lot of bumps. The Smalls screen the center, and they just get a clear out here. Is that pretty?
Well, the freshman Earl Clark got burned on that one a little bit, hugging his man on the weak side. He needed to be in the middle of the lane as a weak side defender.
Just what Pittsburgh needed. And a little run to open the half and get the crowd back into it. Timeout, Louisville. Pittsburgh shot 5 out of 21 in the first half from the floor. They're 3 for 3 so far in the second half.
And not a very good job here by Louisville of showing weak side help. You see Padgett on the top side. Look at Earl Clark here. Man-oriented. He should be in the middle of the lane right there to go over as that pass goes in. He could have knocked it away or maybe taken a charge on Aaron Gray. Instead, he's got his back to the action while he's looking only at his man and not seeing man and ball. You've got to see the ball and play the ball.
Pittsburgh had only 4 points in the paint in the first half. They have 4 already in the paint here in the second half.
Not a good foul by Levance Fields. He just held on there.
Second foul on Fields.
Much better pressure on the ball by Pittsburgh, making Louisville start their offense further out and turn their backs.
Williams fouled on a reach-in.
May have been Graves on the pinch. Great defensive stance here. On the weak side, you want your guy to rake down there, but with the hand, don't be overzealous and get to the body.
First foul on Cook. 2.5 minutes gone by. Second half. Louisville once up by 19, leading by 13. They led by 17 at the break. Paget working on Gray. That's a travel.
Well, that's what you call bodying up. The big fella with the belly bump.
Well, he needs to face him up. That's the best way to attack Aaron Gray, is face him up and drive him or shoot over.
Well, the problem, he pushed out from the box. He did have to dribble, Jay.
Well, but that's the better time to face a guy up when you're pushed off the lane. You got more space.
Cook just did get it over in time. Gray had it blocked by Paget. Out of bounds, last touch by Paget. Paget's going to get a breather. Derek Character comes in for David. A breather and some words of instruction from the veteran coach.
Rick's been down the road. He's brought this team along nicely. I think they're getting better, and that's what you want come tournament time.
Tim Higgins over looking at the television monitor.
Timmy just wants to be seen, I think, Sean. Let people know at home he's working.
We wanted to see if the ball hit the rim here and if the shot clock should have been reset. It did not. So they're going to leave it where it was, which is 20 seconds. Graves trying to use a Kendall screen, and a foul on Edgar Sosa.
Now that 2-3 zone, no reason Sosa should be fouling out that far from the basket. But, Jay, I think this has had the biggest impact. Pittsburgh, other than the turnaround by Gray on the foul line, has not solved the 2-3 puzzle.
I think getting it into the middle to Aaron Gray and letting him make a play. He is a good passer in there.
2 fouls on Sosa, 3 team fouls on Louisville in the second half. Vance Fields, now Mike Cook out there with Levon Kendall, Aaron Gray, and Antonio Graves. Good luck. There's Gray in the middle of that zone, finding Cook. He missed. Gray was fouled.
And they ran some nice stuff there. They flashed Levon Kendall. They went to short corner, and then the big fella, Jay, in the middle.
Just Xing the big guys, and when they get it into Gray in the middle, everything collapses. He kicks it out to a shooter, and then he can turn and go to the glass while they're getting a closeout on the baseline.
Character called for the foul. And Gray missed the first.
It's amazing. He's such a good shooter inside the lane, but when he steps to the free throw line, he does not have the same kind of touch.
Missed both Clark and Character there, out of bounds. Last touch by Louisville. Tough break for Louisville. 2 misses from the line, but they couldn't corral the rebound.
Well, that's the nudge under there. Kendall, always active, keeps it in play for his club. Take it.
He was alone at the elbow. He can certainly make that.
Yeah, there's sometimes when not shooting is a bad play.
And twice now he's on an open look, and they're getting later in the shot clock.
10 to shoot. Good hands by Character, but it wound up back in the lap of Kendall. And he scores on a little running jump hook, his first points of the night.
All of a sudden, Louisville's got some real game pressure on him now. Now the shots and passes a little more difficult.
That's why they got to go to the rim. Don't settle deep. Pretty.
Clark off the feed from Williams. The biggest lead Louisville has blown this year is only 6 points. Twice they've blown a 6-point lead in a loss, most recently against Marquette.
That was a really strong finish by Earl Clark because he took a pretty good hit by Levon Kendall.
Screen in the zone a little bit.
That's much more typical of Pitt's offense. We didn't see much of that patience offensively in the first half. Foul on Gray, his third, and a timeout. You've been the colorful owner of the Dallas Mavericks, big city of Pittsburgh sports fan.
Yeah, we got a chance to talk to him, Bill Rafter and I, at halftime, and he said he can empathize with us that Sean McDonough's not a leader either.
He said, what's he really like? You know, he's so charitable. Imagine what it cost him for that Oakland Zoo shirt. A few dollars, I would suggest.
Can you explain that one to me?
Charitable. He's probably given thousands to the university. You're usually good at interpreting.
Well, Sosa with Jenkins' character. Sosa on the drive. Clark and Williams also in the court for Rick Pitino. Out of bounds to Pittsburgh. They've outscored Louisville 8-4 here in the second half.
That's one of those you wish he had just fan dribble and get other people involved. A little small change trip once again. The feet intertwined by Jenkins.
And that is 3 on Brandon Jenkins. 5-team foul. Still, the Panthers have not made a 3 tonight. Ramon, their best 3-point shooter, guarded by Sosa. With Fields out there, Young, Graves, and Gray. Gray playing with 3 fouls, picked up the third right before the last break. And that pass from Graves went through his hands, a bit too hot to handle.
Well, they were not set in their zone either. A couple of open people in the back. Young was waiting.
Good drive by Graves, but he just kind of bounced off a character, and Gray couldn't hang on to it.
Why not go to character with Gray on him? See if they can do some damage.
Nice spin move to the baseline, and there it is, Bill. The 4th foul on Gray, and a big bucket on the reverse by the freshman Derek Character.
Here's where you can see the quickness really bothers Gray.
A little dilemma here. He is an offensive-minded kid. He's got great strength, great body, can curl on people, and that 3rd foul is the one that gets him in trouble. That giveaway at the other end earlier.
Yeah, we were talking as soon as we went to break what a bad foul that 3rd one was. Didn't really have a chance for the rebound, went after it anyway. Not the kind of play a senior's supposed to make.
Character missed the free throw. 14 minutes to go. The number 5 team in the country on its home court, down by 15. Graves still can't get the first 3 of the night for Pitt. Out of bounds, last touch by Earl Clark.
Nice play by Graves to keep possession of the ball. Not a very good shot he took, though, in transition.
He goes out for Keith Benjamin.
This crowd really quiet. They haven't had much to cheer for, but this is the scenario Louisville wanted. A quiet Peterson Event Center.
And we can hear everything Rick Pitino's hollering from across the floor right now. It's so quiet in here. Benjamin got stuck in the air, almost turned it over, but Williams couldn't handle it. 14 on the shot clock for Pitt.
Well, that is amazing, Sean, to be able to hear the opposing coach in this building. I don't think I've ever seen or heard that before.
And without Gray on the floor, they just don't have a guy to trigger things inside. Well, that's a bailout for them, huh? They were struggling.
Yeah, Jerry Smith called for the foul, his first, the 6th against Louisville, so the next one will send Pitt to the line for the rest of the half. Been a long time since they had a win over a ranked team. 0-4 this year against ranked opponents. Arizona, Notre Dame, Marquette, and Georgetown, the 4 ranked teams this year, against which Louisville has lost.
Last year, they just weren't ready for the physical nature of the Big East, and they performed much better this year. But a win over Pittsburgh would go an awfully long way for the Louisville program.
They're just not running their offense efficiently. They're really stuck. Nice pump.
And then Young lost it on the way to the bucket, but last touch by Louisville. Louisville was 6-10 last year in the conference in their first year in Big East play. They've already surpassed last year's conference win total. They're 7-4. Ramon a miss. Louisville the push. Good catch by Smith.
And a smart play by Smith as well.
Williams fouled before the basket on the drive by Keith Benjamin. His first. 15 foul on Pittsburgh here in the second half. There'll be a lot of free throws in the rest of this one.
I'll tell you what, character ran the floor too. He showed me something. He was at the rim if anybody took a shot.
He's an unbelievable talent.
Sosa called for shoving Ramon away. And that's 3 on Edgar Sosa. Their starting point guard. He'll come out. Andre McGee, sophomore from Moreno Valley, California, comes in.
Sosa had that little shot before there, the discard. Not smart. I mean, I know you're learning, you're a youngster, but now it's almost sophomore time.
Yeah, it's not necessary either. You just have to stand there and then quick them out. Now all of a sudden, Louisville gets a lot smaller out top of this zone. Good job by Terrence Williams to jump up.
And nothing in the middle at all.
And no dribble penetration into a gap.
There you go.
Shot clock at 5. Young rescues the possession. That was a struggle throughout.
Feels one of those guys that sort of lifts this team, just does exactly what they need. Nice pass to the correct hand.
Character did a great job of sealing off Kendall to free himself for that pass. He has 8. Well, you can see the talent that everybody talks about. If he can just keep his weight down and stay out of trouble, Louisville has itself a very talented player. And at the other end, Levance Fields called for the offensive foul.
Sean, he's hurt too. He's writhing in pain.
It's his 3rd foul. Timeout, 11:58 to go.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Done with Bill Raftery and Jay Billis, our producer Bo Garrett, our director Mike Schwab, and our outstanding ESPN crew.
So you got to them again to get top billing.
Yep. 18 turnovers. Ties the most they've had in the game this year. They have 12 minutes to go still. And Gray, their leading scorer and rebounder, on the bench with 4 fouls.
Good ball reversal, good action.
Williams trying to get it into character. Held ball, says Tim Higgins, as Kendall got his hands in on it. Boy, just like the ball popped out right away. Everybody seemed surprised by that whistle.
I like the way character, you mentioned earlier about being a threat, turning. Look at the target he is in there.
He stays low and uses that low base.
Getting
Good offensive rebound by Williams.
Well, they're getting out hustled, Sean.
And how many times?
Never see.
Yeah, exactly. How many times do you say that about a Pittsburgh team? But
Never.
From the opening tap, they have been outworked and outfought. No.
Williams hoping for a bit too much there, got away with it as Kendall the last to touch it. 19 to shoot for the Cardinals.
Were you impressed how relaxed both coaches were, but Rick before the game, because it was so meaningful, and it looks like it's permeated his team.
Well, you have to, especially with a young team, set the tone for them to play with a free mind, especially on the road. You don't want a team coming into this atmosphere tight.
It was interesting in the press room at the halftime. The people who watch Pittsburgh play all the time said that's the worst they could ever remember seeing Pittsburgh play in a half. And the Louisville people said it might have been the best half they played all year. Benjamin fouled as he started toward the bucket. Louisville over the limit. Paget returns. The foul on Williams, his 2nd. As we mentioned, Pittsburgh setting the pace, but a loss tonight will drop them down to their 2nd conference loss, into a tie in the loss column. As we mentioned earlier, Pittsburgh has road games left at Georgetown and at Marquette. Benjamin made the first.
Of course, West Virginia's at Georgetown tonight as well.
And the second. Here's Reese Davis with a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
All right, Sean, Andy Reid, I should say, is going to take a leave of absence for a month to deal with some family issues. This comes just a couple of weeks after two sons got in separate legal trouble on the same day. And Steve Nash is going to miss the NBA All-Star game next Sunday because of his ailing shoulder. SportsCenter coming up after the game. ESPN News all the time, Sean.
All right, Reese. When it's your night, it's your night. As you know, most nights is your night. Your talent, but Jerry Smith just banked one in for three for Louisville to push the lead back up to 16.
And John, what made that worse is Padgett was under there with a very small guy, and he takes a long and hurried little kiss.
Young nearly lost it. Strong drive, and he's fouled. Both Padgett and Palacios were there.
Boy, this is the way that Louisville can let Pittsburgh back in this game, is by fouling. Every common foul puts Pittsburgh at the line in this last 10 minutes, and you've really got to be careful not to let them get back in it at the free throw line.
Yeah, sure, it slows the game down too, stops the clock. Because this is not a team that Jamie has that can full court press you.
3 fouls now on Padgett, 19 fouls on Louisville. Young made 1 out of 2. It's a 15-point game. Louisville's lost only 2 points off its halftime lead. Pittsburgh seemed to have momentum early in the second half, but they have not been able to sustain it. Sosa off to Padgett. He's fouled by Benjamin, and a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, you saw Rick chatting earlier with his players, and Sosa got a little bit of a blow, the little hesitation. How about the left hand? And then the deft delivery. And Padgett, as you said all game long, Jay, this kid reads, he slips, he understands how to get himself available.
Well, he takes advantage of Levon Kendall helping up. And anytime you help up to stop a drive, you're going to leave somebody open on that baseline. And Sosa, who can be an emotional player and sometimes get going a little too fast, although he is a marvelous talent, really played with great pace on that drive.
11 points for Padgett. The foul on Benjamin, his second. Aaron Gray back into the ball game now with 9:42 to go. And his team down by 18, just 1 point shy of their largest deficit of the night.
And you have to expect that Rick Pitino is going to go right at Aaron Gray on the other end.
Nice high-low here.
Gray down to Tyrell Biggs. 4 points for Biggs, the sophomore. And a timeout, Louisville. Mini timeout requested by Coach Pitino with a 16-point lead and 9:19 to go. Tomorrow night, it's Super Tuesday. Another great night of college basketball on ESPN, 7 Eastern time. Kentucky and Tennessee. And then at 9, Michigan and Michigan State. 2 teams that could use some wins down the stretch here to help their cause of the night toward the NCAA tournament. Super Tuesday presented by Lexus on ESPN, also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today, and for more information, log on to ESPN.com. Turnovers, the story of the night throughout for Pittsburgh.
Not valuing the ball, not making good decisions from the get-go. And Louisville very much prepared, mixed up defenses, created havoc, and always got a hand, a lot of deflections as well.
And you give a lot of credit to Louisville's defense for forcing most of those turnovers, but there were a good many of them that were, in my judgment, unforced because they were going too fast. They were not strong with the ball.
Right off the timeout.
Right into work on Gray with those 4 fouls, and Padgett is 13 points.
That is a good coach right there. He even took the timeout to make sure that his team knew this is what we're going to do until they stop it.
In Pittsburgh ordinarily would say the 3-ball would get them back into it, the best 3-point shooting team in the conference, but 0 for 13 tonight from beyond the arc.
Just so passive in attacking this zone.
And most of them have been challenged too, Sean. There you go. Go to the rim, and Biggs, who has started to play pretty good basketball. Wow, he can take some down with him.
Palacios called for his 4th foul.
Well, right now, Padgett can really back Gray in because Gray can't afford to give too much resistance.
He is just giving ground, and that's the air you need under that shot. Once in a while, the line drives it.
Well, one of the reasons against Gray early on, he couldn't get any elevation is Gray's big body right on his.
That's true, too.
And with, as you said, with Gray giving ground because he couldn't afford to really get physical with Padgett, that provided him that extra space he needed to elevate for that shot.
Gray goes out for a moment. Needs one more rebound for a double-double. 10 points and 9 rebounds. 10 team fouls on Louisville, so it's the double bonus the rest of the way. Biggs makes both. He's a player who lost about 20 pounds over the summer. Still a solid 245.
Good job pulling the plug here, getting organized, and now they've got a mismatch size-wise. Why not go to the big fella?
Padgett with a much shorter Biggs on him. Dumps it down for Clark, and he gets it to pop in.
It's so long.
I was just going to say, he can catch anything, and that was a tough angle for a little kiss delivery, and yet he did it.
The Clark's had some big games lately. 14 points, 2 games against Georgetown. He also had 14 against Villanova. Padgett swatted the shot from Young. Clark lost it in transition to Fields. Trying to blow by Jenkins, and he does.
Got a little experience there.
That was a bad pass by Jenkins. He's got to see down the floor where the defense is. He led his teammate right into that turnover.
Padgett again guarded by Biggs. Sosa fouled by Graves.
Wow.
Second on Graves.
Pretty good defensively, huh? It's up to beat the big fella. Padgett's made great decisions, whether he finishes himself or finds others. He's been extraordinary. And look on the wing here, the long arm of the law with the little kiss out of Rahway, New Jersey.
Against a ranked opponent. Edgar Sosa at the free throw line. Shooting 2.
Well, I'm sure the coaches at Pitt knew they would have to play with some fire because Rick Pitino, as we all know, he gets his guys to come with it. They may not shoot, they may struggle, but they came with effort and poise tonight.
And a great game plan to pull Aaron Gray away from the basket, make him guard out on the perimeter, and did a nice job of slipping screens, and Padgett has been terrific.
Now they come with pressure on Ramon in the backcourt. Balanced scoring for Louisville tonight, led by Padgett's 13, Character with 8, Sosa with 9, Palacios and Clark 7 each, and Smith has 6.
The zone slows them down. They want to score quickly. Good ball movement here.
Ramon, and finally the first 3-point field goal of the night for Pittsburgh. Ronald Ramon makes them 1 out of 14 from beyond the arc. He has 5 points.
And now they have to combine that 3 with a stop here and try to get a little bit of momentum.
Sosa guarded by Ramon, uses the Clark screen, so now it's Young.
Padgett really working hard.
Jenkins bumped on the drive by Graves.
Padgett going into the low post really cleared that lane out for the drive.
Pretty.
Pittsburgh in league play, best scoring defense, giving up only 57.6 per game. Louisville's about to go past that as Jenkins goes to the line. The 9th team foul, so this will be a 1-and-1. Well, so much for that. Yes, it is. The players don't realize it.
Pitt's problem has been scoring, Sean. 56 for Louisville. They could ring the bell a little bit now, make a test at the other end on some jump shots. Make people think.
Down to 6 minutes to go. Fields trying to make it back-to-back threes for Pitt. Kept alive by Young.
And Sosa very alert on Ronald Ramon.
Young doubled at the elbow. Graves for 3.
Rick Pitino wants the timeout. It's not wasting. He signaled. I don't know if they got it yet. Yeah, they did get it.
First points of the night for Antonio Graves, who's certainly capable of heating up in a hurry at 13 in the second half against Providence Saturday.
And he was in the corner, Sean, and just made sure on that curl to make it an easier pass. And they did a nice job on the right side for Ronald Ramon, and then Graves helped him on the left.
All made possible by Sam Young going after that rebound and securing it when it looked like it was going to be Louisville's.
The ESPN USA Today coaches poll just out today. Pittsburgh moved up to number 5, moved up a couple of spots. They stayed at 7. In the writers poll, Florida, Ohio State, Wisconsin, North Carolina, the 4 ahead of Pittsburgh. And the big story of the day, Duke, unranked. First time in the history of that coaches poll.
I bet you haven't been asked much about that.
Yeah, it has been a big story.
Yeah, you've had to talk a lot about that today. 9 seasons for the ESPN USA Today coaches poll. If you're curious how long that history is.
Which points out what an amazing streak of high-level consistency they've had.
Williams, Jenkins, Sosa, well off. And great job. Williams got it underneath the Paget. That was big for Louisville. Pittsburgh had a little momentum. But the second chance opportunity gives Paget 15 points.
And Paget's just been so solid with his footwork.
Jenkins one-on-one on Ramon, and a foul on Ronald Ramon.
Louisville continuing to attack.
And the rebounding that you mentioned, Sean, got this opportunity, but I love the post entry before you walk, before you put it on the floor, getting your balance. Number 4, Paget to the tin.
What a great play by Williams. Alert, finding Paget open in the lane.
Now Jenkins has it roll off. His season damaged severely by a broken right leg and a high ankle sprain suffered in a pickup game back in mid-August. He was out for about 3 months. 1 out of 2 for Brandon, a 68% free throw shooter. 3 points for him tonight. The lead 15 as we approach 5 minutes left.
Well, no spacing at all in this press break.
Fields got shut off. You know Pittsburgh's trying to move quickly, but they just can't find an alley, and Ramon commits their 19th turnover.
And that's just great coverage. They responded beautifully.
Well, they're doing a great job of guarding the three-point line and forcing Pittsburgh inside of it. Really, the only chance that Pittsburgh has had at a 3 was off that offensive rebound.
Williams wisely passed it out. And now Louisville will take a little time as we tick down near 4.5 minutes left. The lead 15.
Well, they're as well schooled as I've seen the team in preparation for this game. There's the same play been running all night, huh? Send it in. Palacios.
I think that's the 3rd time he's thrown that to Williams, and the 1st time he's thrown it right on target.
That is one of those, Jay, where I think if it's working, you got to end up switching in the back. Somebody's got to do something. Can't even bump the cutter. They set it up so wide and really not even acknowledging that back screen. Young not alert.
Well, see, yeah, Sam Young had no idea what was going on there. None.
Jenkins called for a backcourt foul, so here's Levance Fields shooting 2. 4 fouls on Brandon Jenkins. So it's interesting because Rick Pitino said we looked at all the tapes of every game this year. We couldn't find a weakness. Well, they found a lot of ways to attack Pittsburgh tonight, and as a result, a lot of these fans are heading out into the snow.
Well, I've never seen anybody leave early here. Never seen a situation like this here.
Give credit too to Rick's assistants who do a lot of the scouting, game plan preparation. Kevin Willard, who Rick thinks is going to be a great head coach someday. The son of the former Pitt coach Ralph Willard,
who's doing a great job at Holy Cross.
Yes, Ralph's got a chance to be in the NCAA tournament again this year with the Crusaders. Steve Masiello, Marvin Menzies. Kevin Willard was marveling at this building as he played back in the days in the old Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. He said, yeah, this is a lot like the building I used to play in when I played here.
You know, Ralph did a great job here, and he thought he was going to have this building. It just took a while.
Rebounds, last touch by Pittsburgh, and a timeout. Louisville will have 6 seconds to shoot when we come back. Rebounds and 4 blocks for each. Here it is Louisville with the ball, 6 seconds to shoot. Out of the media timeout, they lead by 15. Pittsburgh scored the first bucket of the game. Paget might have been deflected by Kendall. Nope, it was not, just a shot clock violation. Rick Pitino's team then scored 13 points in a row to lead 13-2 about 5 minutes in. They've had a double-digit lead ever since. Here's Fields with Ramon, Biggs, Kendall, and Graves for Jamie Dixon.
It's taken so long for Pittsburgh to get into anything. Louisville slowed the advance with that press.
And then the zone's effective, forces the deep one, and challenged.
Ramon the miss from beyond the arc. Now it's Sosa with Jenkins, Williams, Palacios, and Paget. Paget got inside Kendall, came back and hammered him. Well, we mentioned at the top of the telecast, decent overall record for Louisville at 17-8, 7-4 in the league, but lacking the marquee win, and as a result, an RPI of 73. Well, that'll make a big jump up if it stays this way with a win here tonight. A win over number 5 Pittsburgh at a place where they've lost only 7 times in 5 seasons.
And Sean, if they keep passing like they did on that entry and solid basketball, and this team is going to be a contender, as they say. And they didn't jack up wild shots, very much under control. You can see a maturation process taking place.
Well, they certainly took advantage on that last possession of bad post defense by Levon Kendall, trying to get on the high side in the mid post and just leaving himself wide open for them to go over the top on him.
Gray back into the ball game, needs 6 points for 1,000 in his career. 3 minutes to go.
This has been a very active zone.
Sure has. They can't find the big guy, Gray, in the middle.
And Jenkins does a very good job. It's almost like they play the ball man-to-man. Well, they do in the matchup, but Brandon Jenkins especially does a good job playing it.
Well, they're down by 16 points. They have 3 seconds on the shot clock, and they finally get a shot that does not go in. Great defense by Louisville. And a foul on the rebounding action. Both Fields and Gray were there. It's on Levance Fields. His 4th.
You know, Sean, I have not seen their zone this active either. I mean, they have played good basketball, but not for the length of time. The duration and activity has been sensational. That would be pretty pleasing to that guy.
I thought Louisville did a pretty darn good job in the zone when they played Marquette. But Marquette knocked some shots down.
Right.
And they really attacked it. Pittsburgh has seemed confused from the opening tap.
Well, do you think they're more active or just as active?
No, I do think they're more active, but they were pretty active against Marquette. Marquette just did a much better job of attacking it. And this has been a very sleepy Pittsburgh team tonight. Very uncharacteristic of a program that was built on toughness and readiness. I've never seen Pittsburgh come into a game not ready to play.
And they always talk about physical play, Sean. Have you seen any?
From
about
them?
Pitt?
No.
Yeah.
Not much. 8 points for Williams.
It is tough playing these Saturday, Monday games, but they're both doing it.
Graves missed a 3, and Louisville had to travel. Pittsburgh was home Saturday against Providence. That was interesting, too. Providence, primarily a zone team. Tim Welsh said they didn't really want to play zone much against Pitt because Pitt's been so good against zones with that 3-point shooting. Gray's ability to flash in the middle and pass the ball well. But the zone worked well for Louisville tonight. Everything worked well for the Cardinals tonight. And the beat goes on. Williams to Palacios, and the lead is 20, the largest of the night.
And you know what made that play? Paget going to the rim and a little ball fake and got the baseline delivery.
Ramon. Fields the follow. Minute and a half to go, an 18-point game and a timeout called by Pittsburgh. Well, ESPN is projecting that Louisville will be the winner of this game.
All precincts in.
Updating the Big East standings. Georgetown now even in the loss column Pittsburgh 10-2, Georgetown 8-2, Marquette right behind at 8-3. And as we mentioned, 4 league games left for Pittsburgh after tonight. And 2 of those are at Georgetown, and they close out the regular season March 3rd at Marquette. They also are at Seton Hall, so 3 of the last 4 on the road, and the only home game is against West Virginia, a very tough foe.
Be interesting to see those 4 spots up top. They'll get the bye.
Well, that's what everybody's competing for, to be able to compete in that tournament. Having to win only 3 games to win the championship is a big deal.
Top 4 teams get a first-round bye in the Big East tournament in New York City. Of course, Louisville only getting the big resume builder, Palacios behind the back.
Look at Rick.
But this also has them comfortably in position to be one of those 4 teams with the first-round bye. Right now, starting the night, they were tied for 4th with West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Texas. Coming up next, tip time at 9:10 Eastern time as Big Monday presented by Bud Light continues. Jenkins hit hard as he grabbed the rebound.
And Sean, with Dirk Character showing some signs, and Clark looking like he is going to be a big-time performer, and Sosa judgment prevailing, the young guys, they're cultivating something here.
Well, this is a grow-up game for Louisville, to come on the road at a place where only 1 team this year has won. Pittsburgh was 14-1 coming into this game in this building. That's a big step forward in maturity and growing up, and Rick Pitino knows it.
And they're enjoying it on the sideline.
And they should enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that you have to celebrate your steps forward.
Fields is fouled out for Pittsburgh. This will be the largest loss in this building in the 5-year history of the Peterson Event Center for Pittsburgh. Previous loss was February 26th, 2005 against Connecticut, a 73-64 defeat here for the Panthers.
And Pittsburgh was never in this game.
Jenkins short with the second. Gray the rebound. That gives him a double-double. 10 points and 10 rebounds. His 12th double-double of the season. 30th of his career. Graves had it slip out of his hand. Gray lays it in. He's now 4 points from 1,000 career.
Padgett's been all over the floor. Pressure release, in the box, making decisions. Well, he has grown up.
You know, somebody may be asking, why does Rick Pitino still have his starters out there? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Pittsburgh still got theirs out there.
The white flag.
If the other team wants to wave the white flag, you can take your starters out. But if they're going to keep theirs in, you almost have to keep yours in.
You do?
I think you do.
So because they're running
I'm
the
not
risk
saying
of
the
getting
last
their starters hurt, you should run the risk of getting yours hurt?
I don't think it's a risk in this game so much.
Shot clock violation. First win over a ranked team since they beat Washington in the NCAA tournament in 2005. They had lost 13 in a row, including 4 this season of ranked teams before this impressive win. And Rick Pitino very happy, understandably so. And he should be happy with himself and his staff, too. This was a very well-prepared team, knew exactly what it wanted to accomplish, and they went out and did it.
Well, you know, when you have a game plan and it works to perfection, not that I know firsthand, but I've been told about this, you've got to regale and rejoice with your team. It's, you know, to perfection against a terrific team.
Game plans usually work out pretty well.
They were always
well
followed to the hill.
Out and executed.
And I expect the same from my teammates here.
Cook, that's a 3. Little consolation for the fans who remain. Well, more than half the crowd is long gone. A very big win for Louisville. Their most impressive of the season by far. They go to 18-8 overall, 8-4 in the Big East. Pittsburgh suffers the loss, now 22-4. Big Monday continues with Oklahoma State and Texas. Final score here, Louisville 66, Pittsburgh 53. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now for Bill Raftery and Jay Billis, Sean McDonough saying so long from Pittsburgh.